The Quam XRP Oak reserves are indeed coming now, along with Solana and all sorts of altcoins we can imagine or that have been discussed. We'll take a look at that together today because I have some news. Also, of course, the daily trading setup, because things are getting really exciting now and it could get pretty fast with Bitcoin as well. I would say let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in. Now, starting new, Uptrend VIP Trading, your opportunity to copy the signals of two profit traders for free. They managed to grow an account from $4,000 to $30,000 within 2 months. The results in the group are also impressive. All you need for this is a deposit of $100 into your BingX account. You can find all further information below in the description. Let's start with a quick look at the crypto heat map. And yes, well, at first glance, it looks a bit like, wow, there's quite a lot pretty red. But on the other hand, one can say that Bitcoin is holding up quite well here right now. So we are at just about 85,500. And even if there are correction phases in between, yes, that's completely normal. Well, with Ethereum, we really shouldn't be surprised anymore. But as I said, all in all, it looks now really quite nice. Also, a quick look at the spot ETFs, and we can note, hey, folks, so just yesterday, I personally thought there might be a bit more, but effectively, we had an inflow of $1.5 million, but that also means in the end, well, that's not entirely true because there were corresponding outflows as well. So Grayscale messed up the numbers a bit at BlackRock. This time, finally, something positive came in. All in all, one should now consider that there is a certain ambivalence. So, or rather, these people are not quite sure now, should I invest more or less? And therefore, the balance between sales and purchases is quite even, which is definitely a positive sign because it can also signal, well, the bottom, we have it right now, and currently it's like the calm before the storm. Well, we are not that far from, for example, 90,000 or even 100,000, and that can happen quite quickly. Nevertheless, first of all, a quick thank you, even though the clicks were a bit lower yesterday for some reason, I don't get it. There are days when suddenly there are 2,500 to 3,000 clicks on the videos, and then suddenly the next day, 700. I don't know what it's due to, whether it's being broadcast less or whatever. Either way, regardless of the headline, you get a top-notch trading setup with chart analysis every day where you can hopefully take away at least a part for yourself. Also, thank you very much for the likes. It would be great if we could top the number again today and with that, you support my hours of research for free, simply and easily, and also boost the channel. And so you are warmly welcome and invited, if you want to support this in any way, to leave a free like now. Or of course, feel free to write a comment. That also boosts the algorithm. If you are new to the channel and are wondering, yes, Daniel, what do you actually do? This is about crypto news. Fact-based, honest, neutral, transparent, without hype, plus a daily trading setup. If you are interested in these topics, feel free to subscribe for free now and activate the bell. A warm welcome to all the newcomers. And now let's continue. We can also note at this point that we are out of extreme fear. Yes, there is fear in the market, of course, but we are now back above the 30 mark. So yesterday it must have been around, I think, 24 or 25. So you can see here as well, the markets, it's slowly picking up again. And I would definitely keep an eye on such an indicator right now. Remember my words? Guaranteed, if we end up somewhere up here again, say around 60 or 65, then everyone will start saying, oh, now I have to buy. Well, why not, as the saying goes, when there's blood on the streets, or buy when others are fearful, or be greedy when others are fearful. And now, directly moving on to Ripple. Why? Not to the strategic reserves, but to a Euro-Stablecoin that has been confirmed. And that's quite groundbreaking. By the way, there are also speculations about BlackRock, which I will address later on. In any case, it now appears to be confirmed that a Euro-Stablecoin from Ripple is coming. It just makes also quite possible. So if we recall a bit, we have MiCA, conform, which Ripple definitely is. We have USDT, which has already disappeared from this market. And on the other hand, you have the European area, which one might not believe, but it indeed has attractiveness, yet is still completely untouched. And Ripple can definitely take advantage of that and apparently plans to do so. So it is nicely stated here, the background to the MiCA regulation. And to say, yes, look, we have all the regulations, we can create a suitable environment here, bring a Euro stablecoin to the market, which could indeed be very well received. That can certainly make sense. To what extent? That aligns with CBDCs. I don't want to elaborate on this further now because Ripple is also quite leading in this area. We know that the European Central Bank plans to launch with it in October. Hopefully we're not talking about the same thing here, just with different names, which, however, certainly causes some controversy. And I want to tell you, at this point, I am currently working on a detailed analysis regarding XRP, what might be planned with Trump. So there should be a pretty interesting video coming in the next few days. And this time without FOMO, without hype, without anything. In any case, speculation is quite high right now regarding this gentleman who is a co-founder of BlackRock Swan Capitalist. And he explained there like, hey, so once you understand, and by the way, it's completely logical at this point, when there are always some news coming out, BlackRock plans to invest so and so many billions in XRP. That's absolute bullshit. I mean, who would seriously release such a report? I mean, I would first buy and then tell that I have bought, because then I have favorable conditions. So it should be clear to everyone by now that most of those news are just bullshit. This also means here, if BlackRock should have bought or plans to buy, then they will do it first or maybe have already done it. And then the news will follow. But that would indeed be groundbreaking, because if BlackRock is just getting involved there through that, they are logically always one step ahead, becoming or having become active there. Wow, wow, wow. So at this point, feel free to write in the comments what you think about it and whether you believe it could really happen. Now let's move directly to the reserves before we get to the trading setup for XRP, Solana, and ADA. Interestingly, Ethereum is not mentioned there at all, but well, so be it. In any case, it seems that something is happening again. A bit more is happening. So, Donald Trump has apparently announced the creation of 2 national digital treasuries. What I don't quite understand at this point, I just don't quite grasp. So this one treasury essentially only includes Bitcoin. So strategic Bitcoin reserves, which in turn exclusively, and here we are again, come from confiscated Bitcoin by the federal authorities, are used. So that means, according to the information we have, the US government holds nearly 207,000 Bitcoins with a current market value of 18 billion US dollars. Now, we must not forget at this point, they are already off the market. So, yes, the only security that exists as a result is that they will not be sold. At least until a new president comes in and changes it all again. Overturns it by executive order, but fundamentally, they are already gone. However, this will not lead to a price increase because, as mentioned, they are already in the possession of the US government. But now it continues. Now, apparently a second treasury is being added, and this is supposed to include other US digital assets which also originate from seizures. Now, it gets quite interesting at this point because if we look at the data from Akram, we don't find much here. Interestingly, we find Ethereum, BNB, which are included, etc. But with Solana or XRP, it gets really sparse. So it has already been announced that possibly one or another asset, it might be conceivable now, for example, selling BNB and then buying XRP with it. Well, maybe, no idea. Or there are simply more wallets. And accordingly, seizures that we are not aware of until now. But be that as it may, we will find out everything eventually. Now let's move directly to the trading setup. By the way, if you're looking for a cool exchange, I can recommend BitUnex to you. You can use it. There are also various deposit bonuses plus a trading bonus. And if you have a certain volume, you haven't seen anything yet. I'll just show it to you here now. Feel free to check it out for yourself. The whole exchange is simply structured so it can definitely be used. Link to it in the description. And now let's dive right in. First, look at Bitcoin in the 3-day view. You can already see that some volume has built up down here. Sure, it went up well, but especially in this zone, respectively, or here, there's quite a bit of attractive liquidity. And it currently looks like the price is slowly but surely crawling higher and higher so that we might finally make the corresponding leap at this moment in time. But we'll take a look at what is actually necessary for us to relatively easily rise towards 90,000 or 95,000. But first, let's briefly look at the 12-hour view, especially for those who are active in scalping. There might be a zone here that could be quite attractive, specifically at 84,400. At least it stands out prominently here. Otherwise, there's nothing particularly noteworthy here. Let's quickly start with the daily view of Bitcoin. I just want to briefly show something positive here as well. There was a breakout from the downtrend, finally, which has lasted forever, and now we are just above it. So hopefully the trend will continue and move upwards, especially around this area, let's say around 86, 87, 87K. They are quite interesting. There was already a lot of contact and movement there, but we'll take another look at that in a smaller time frame. Let's switch to the 15-minute view. So we see it is simply going beautifully, steadily upwards. We can really almost lay a ruler here and confidently draw upwards here. So it looks very healthy what's happening right now. Let's say roughly like this. And now it remains crucial, when will it finally start properly upwards? And there we have a threshold. So, of course, this area here should first be sustainably left behind. And then we're almost there, namely here. So let's say at just under $86,000, it becomes really interesting when we also close the day here. But all in all, as I said, the price is climbing beautifully upwards. There are always entry opportunities. So if you see this, you have pullbacks here again, then you see here certain zones that become relevant again and again. So be it here, for example, in this area, it was also tested cleanly here again. If we really see another pullback now, we don't have to go down by that far. That would be roughly here. That could also be a zone that could be targeted again. So around about 85,155. We have another area here that could be approached well again. It simply depends on what happens now. But if you want to trust the line here, it almost looks like we could climb further up now, and that there might not be such a big pullback anymore, that perhaps the bottom has already been reached. Who knows? We will see today, especially regarding the stock market opening. There was a bit of volatility here yesterday as well. All in all, I can also tell you that a lot was possible yesterday, at least in my opinion. So I was able to make 3 or 4 trades very, very well, especially if you quickly jump in there. And just with a leverage of 10, for example, quickly jump in and done, but then I would close it again. However, quite a few positive things happened overnight, and there is currently an open trade again. So let's wait and see. I will also share this separately on XDay in Telegram. Further look at XRP in the 3-day view here as well. We have a volume area up here. Yes, it's not glowing very strongly, but especially down here. A pretty large evening star has formed. So yes, as I said, it is quite possible that the market makers will intervene here again. But one must not forget, if Bitcoin should rise significantly, it usually doesn't pass by XRP without a trace. So let's wait and see if something is really going to happen in that direction. Now a quick look at the 1-hour view. So we are still dancing on this lower line of the symmetrical triangle. It would, of course, be desirable if it would move further upwards here. Let's go here now. No, not 15 seconds. Let's go to 15 minutes. 15 seconds is a bit too wild. And let's take a deeper look here. Then even that, hey, is really crazy. I would say personally, well, the higher highs are welcome to come. We had something here today. Then we had something yesterday. Almost the same value, basically. So I'm not counting this brief breakout here to it. There was also something here on Monday. Then we had something here on Sunday. So you can almost lay a ruler to it. But somehow, no higher highs are coming in right now. So what should be the big goal is definitely this area here, that it gets targeted again. Because, yes, it would be quite nice if it is sustainably left behind, especially. Because right now it's purely a sideways movement. Last look at Ethereum. Here too, both the bottom and the top are lighting up. It's getting relatively exciting there as well. You'll see it soon when we look at trading. There too, it should really start to move slowly. Now a little bit, what might happen? I've pulled up the 4-hour view for you here, and you can see, yes, we definitely have an uptrend. Although here, or let's just sketch it out probably, something should happen now so that we don't lose this uptrend here. What stands out here is that we don't have higher highs. And those should really be in place now. So especially this threshold around 1674 should finally be sustainably broken through. So here was the testing, almost here, but it's still not quite right. What happens? And once this thing is cracked, we are almost back at the symmetrical triangle, because that would also be the next threshold here where we at least enter, let's say, somewhat safer regions again. But right now it's more of a pure sideways movement. That should be it for now at this point. I am very curious. Feel free to write your opinion in the comments. Are you invested in XRP? Do you think there will be a big push now or not? I am very curious. Otherwise, if you liked it, feel free to leave a free like. And finally, I can give you the tip to check out this video. I talk about how you can cash out cryptocurrencies anonymously. If you're interested, feel free to check it out. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow in the next update. Until then, all the best. Bye.